Hi everyone, my name is Kelly and this is the Rise and Shine Homestead. I am gardening in a Zone 3 in Canada and this is my first year ever trying to garden with some mixed success but lots of learning. It is July the 9th and it's been about like 2 weeks since the last garden tour. And part of that's because I feel like things have been growing really slowly, and today you can see it's not very bright as we walk around, kind of overcast, and it's actually about 11 degrees Celsius out, maybe 52 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's been pretty just like cold in general. We haven't seen many days above 20 degrees Celsius, so a very cool summer. But I thought I'd take you around and see what is growing. There's definitely something, so let's go take a look. So here we are at the raised garden beds. You can see that the rhubarb is looking really good, as well as the sunflowers. There's another one over here. Those are doing quite well. They don't have heads yet, but they look nice and healthy. This is it's like a dark green zucchini, kind of your classic zucchini, and while there aren't any flowers yet on this one setting, it does look like it's finally like really kind of progressing. These are bunching onions, which actually I could probably start eating. You can see like this one has quite a nice stalk on it. Here are the Armenian cucumbers, which I don't think will manage to survive. Here's one, it's trying very valiantly to put out a new leaf. Here's another. You can see they've been getting really chomped on, and I have discovered the culprit. The thing that has been eating most of my vegetables are slugs. It's been very wet and cool, and they just really seem to love that type of environment. So I was kind of wondering what was eating the bean sprouts when they first came out, and I'm pretty sure it's slugs that was eating them. And I have been coming down like every morning and just kind of picking slugs off of things. I guess it's also good to do that at night, but maybe there's more at night, but there's a lot in the morning as well. But here are a bunch of different types of bush beans. It was a mix. There's like purple and green and white in here. You can see that even despite the slugs, they seem to be growing okay. There are radishes in the center. They seem to really kind of slugs seem to enjoy radishes. Over here the kale is growing. They just started to find the kale. Here is a yellow zucchini, and you can see that these ones have flowers starting, which is really exciting. So maybe we'll get some zucchini. One thing I'm quite excited about is the scarlet runner beans. So you can see they're getting quite tall. I put on these strings so that they had something to climb up, and they seem to be really enjoying that. Just like you can see, like really wrapping around it. And look at those. The first kind of flowers starting to blossom. Oh, and look, there's some over here as well. I had dreams of this trellis just kind of being full of vines and flowers, but maybe not this summer, maybe it's a little too cool, but it does look like there'll be some at least. This is the spinach that is kind of bolting, although we don't see any, I mean, there aren't like flowers here yet, and I've been kind of tasting it, and it's not bitter yet. Like, I haven't grown spinach before. Is this just what spinach looks like? Or maybe it's a variety that just isn't very bitter. Oh, but yeah, look, like there's like tons of little flowers starting to form, but it still seems pretty edible. In here, there's some butter crunch lettuce that's kind of starting to take off. See the cauliflowers. There's one here and one here. And then all in here is also radishes. You can see something looks like it was trying to eat that one a little bit. Oh, see? Look at that guy. Slugs, gross. So one thing I've decided to do was actually like leave some of my weeds in here for now because of the slugs, and that way they not only are eating just my plants, they're eating some of the other things in there as well. I'm kind of hoping that like minimizes how much they damage like my vegetable plants specifically. They seem to really enjoy stinging nettle and clover, so those ones are good to like leave in as an alternative for them to eat, but they tend to stay away from like the grasses. And dandelions, actually. I haven't seen them eating much dandelions. Okay, this is exciting. The strawberries. Wow. I might just leave those for like another day so that they're like super ripe when we pick them. But yeah, some of the strawberries are starting to, look at all of them ripen. Yes. This one right here. This one is at the very edge of the garden bed, and so it just kind of like speaks to me whenever I walk past here. Beautiful strawberry. So it's very likely that there will be, I'm sure I'm gonna make some sort of strawberry rhubarb combination. Crisp, or maybe I'll try a pie, I don't know. I'm not that great at pies, but it's gonna happen. This is a bush scallop, or like a patty pan that's white, and it looks like it might just be starting to produce some flowers. I am like really hoping this one does well. I'm wanting to try this. These are sugar magnolia snap peas right here. I planted those a little later than I planted these. These are the same. You can see they're quite a bit taller. They don't have any flowers yet, but they are growing quite well. These are just kind of regular sugar snap peas. So while these have white flowers, I'm pretty sure the magnolia ones have purple flowers. And so you can see that we have some flowers, and also the first like actual full-size pods are coming off of them. So there will be peas. And here are the lettuces. Man, the lettuces are like, I don't know, they make me like really happy. And do slugs not like lettuce, or have they just not found my lettuce? Because generally these look pretty good. The lettuce have really been enjoying this summer. See a stinging nettle is being chewed on, but this lettuce looks fine. I find that interesting. I really thought the lettuce would be like one of the first things to really go with the slugs, but I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm gonna harvest a little bit of this for some lunch. So I've just been kind of coming in and taking the bigger side leaves off of this lettuce. So, it's a nice amount of lettuce. Do well in a salad. And I might actually grab a little bit more from the pig pen garden as well when we go down there. While the netting hasn't been very successful in keeping out the slugs, it has definitely helped with the deer. There's definitely a couple deer down in the garden the other day, and the only damage was actually on some of the herbs that I have growing that are uncovered. So I'm glad I did that, otherwise I feel like they would have also had a very nice salad. The net seems to be working pretty good, and I haven't seen any caterpillars or anything like that yet. And I'm not sure if that's just because it's not the season for that type of thing. So here we have some of the flower beds. I still haven't figured what this one is called, but it really reminds me of like broccoli, how like all these little like flowers are here. These guys have fully bloomed. I have some sunflowers here. They look good. And then down here are my only zinnias that have been able to survive. I don't know, they just like, the zinnias haven't been enjoying this like wet, cool summer at all. Most of them have died. I've tried planting several plants at different times and direct sowing and having them as transplants, and nothing really seems to be working very well for them. Got parsley going. I've actually come in and thinned this out. Yeah, I guess that germinated really well. Here's the dill, and this is what the deer munched on. But I think it'll be fine. There's also a lot germinating in there. All right, well, let's go check out some of the other gardens. All right, well, welcome to the greenhouse. I guess it's made with plastic, so I don't know if it's actually considered a greenhouse or more of a high tunnel. But it is warmer in here than outside, so I'm gonna call it a greenhouse. And this is where the tomatoes have been planted. Here we have some Brandywine Red. These are my F2 generation tomatoes. See, this one's doing very well. And this one is starting to look good. Some of the older leaves had a bit of yellow, but the new ones are all coming in really nice and green. These two are Pink Boar tomatoes. And then we have some mortgage lifters. And in the front is a bunch of basil. And down at the end I have these mini bell peppers, which I don't know if these will produce fruit, but I thought I'd put them in here and give them a chance. On this side I have more cherry tomatoes. So these are just like a red cherry tomato from Seeds of Change. And then these three are from a variety from Full Circle Seeds, so I'm not actually sure what type of cherry tomatoes those are. And then down here I have some big tomatoes. These are Cherokee Purples. And then I have another Brandywine Red because I had a few of those. And it was just looking so good that I wanted to plant it. And then also just more basil. And in here, you can see it's not actually like 20 degrees yet, or almost like 66 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's with it totally closed in, so it's definitely not warm out. So I was having a little bit of, I don't know, just like worry, I guess, about these tomatoes because I really wanted them to be successful and to like have my tomato sandwich that I've been dreaming about. And as you can see, probably most of these tomatoes are quite smaller that are in other people's gardens. And so I was kind of like, oh, I really don't think they're gonna produce anything. I'm feeling a little discouraged about that. But then I had to like remind myself about why exactly I decided I wanted to garden this year. And really that was to learn, you know, to learn some things. And even if they're not successful, to not let that discourage me, and to take away from the experience what I know going forward in the future. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to focus on. And so, you know, I still went ahead and planted the tomatoes even in here, even though maybe they won't have ripe fruit, but you know, maybe they will. Hopefully they will. And as a new gardener, this is also my first time kind of seeing the process happen, and so I need to like give myself the space to kind of just appreciate the mistakes that are made, and the things that you can't control, and to just kind of take from this experience what I can, and then hopefully apply it next year, and maybe next year will go better. Yeah, just trying to like, you know, remain in a positive headspace about everything. So, but I wanted to show you them because while small, I think they still look really nice. We are at the brush pile garden now, and I mean, I haven't been here in a little bit, but it's looking pretty good, especially with the potatoes. Here we have Kennebec, Chieftain, Russian blue, and then red thumb potatoes. And some of them are starting to flower, which is interesting. And the potato flowers are really beautiful. So these are the Russian blue potatoes, and they have very dark, like purple stems. And check out those flowers. Wow. Whereas if we look at the red thumb, their stems aren't nearly as dark, and they have these like white flowers. Right? Pretty cool. And then on this side we have more potatoes. These are Caribbean, Yukon Gold, Gold Rush Russet, and then there's more of the red thumb potatoes down there. And I think the only potatoes that don't have flowers are the Yukon Gold and the Gold Rush Russet. But the Yukon Gold have like some very large plants. Here are some rows of onions. You can see they look really healthy. I'm not sure how much they've been like bulbing more. That looks like kind of similar to like what it was when I planted it, but these stalks are quite large. So maybe they'll start growing larger bulbs. Maybe they won't. Maybe I'll just have to harvest these for their greens. Down here are a bunch of the winter squash. They're still kind of slowly taking off. This one has at least a new leaf. I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna get any of the actual squash from the winter squash, because it's July and there's maybe like less than 60 days left in our like growing season, and it's predicted to have an early frost this year, so end of August. But maybe if I can get a couple of these with flowers, I might just start kind of pruning them to prevent them from growing more and just focusing on the fruit that they do have going. But we'll see when we get there. Some of the squash on the other side are a little bit bigger, so maybe they prefer that location. But here we have some of the other squash. These ones I transplanted out. I started them indoors on April 30th, and I can't remember exactly when I brought them outside, but they're a little bit bigger now, but still not huge. And I have a whole bunch of different kinds here. So the first two are table queens, and then I have some small sugar pumpkins. After that, there's buttercup squash. And these actually look like they might be starting to put out some flowers. Actually, most of these look like they're starting to put out flowers. And then I have some delicata squash. After that, there's bonbon squash. And then some sort of pumpkin, the next two. I think they're like a small sugar pumpkin. And then I have 4 spaghetti squash because I really like spaghetti squash. And these ones definitely got like some flowers starting to form on them. And then the butternut squash are the last two. And then down here are the squash that I direct sowed, which are basically the same squash, but just started in the ground directly. They started these on June 4th. So they've had like a month-ish. I mean, I guess that looks pretty good for a month, right? Some of them are quite large. Like, these ones are pretty big here. These are the bonbon. And then the ones after that are also looking quite good. These are the small sugar pumpkin. I think that the ones that I transplanted, actually, I might get some like some actual winter squash off of them. Here we have the sugar snap peas. These ones have white flowers that are just starting to show. And then, so these ones you can eat, the sugar snap peas as like you eat the pod and everything. And then down here are the Marigolia d'Italia, and these have lots of flowers, as you can see. And there's also some peas forming. These are more like traditional like shelling peas, so you would take them out of the shells when they're mature. And then here are all the various types of beans. The first few I actually transplanted in. I'm just trying to read my tags, but they're all fading, so I'm not really sure exactly what these are. I think the Brolato Linca, if I can read the thing right. And these also have some flowers starting to form. And then these are similar to the bush beans that I have growing in the raised bed garden. So it's just kind of a mix of purple, white, and green beans. So then the next ones are pinto beans, so right to here. And then after that there's more pinto beans, but these are ones I direct sowed. So transplanted and then direct sowed. And then these are actually, I did some more scarlet runner beans because I just think they're kind of beautiful. And these are definitely starting to get going, so I'll have to figure out how I want to trellis them, because as I saw in the other garden, they can get quite tall. And then we have carrots. These are the red core Danvers. I went through and thinned them out a bit, but I think I'll have to continue because some of these are a little too close together. I was reading and you kind of want, wow, yeah, that's like, there's a lot in there. Like an inch spacing around them. Inch and a half spacing, so I'll probably have to come through and thin those a little bit more. I'm a little worried that thinning them might disturb the other roots. I guess it's probably better just to cut off their tops then. These are more red cordanders, but these were new seeds and these were old seeds. So the new seeds are definitely doing a lot better. But the old ones also managed to come out. And then here are some radishes and carrots that I planted on June 3rd. So these are hybrid sweet long carrots, and the radishes are French breakfast radishes. And they're looking like really nice. Yeah, those radishes are like beautiful. And they have a very nice mild taste. I really like these radishes. In fact, I think I'll let a couple of them go to seed so that I can grow them again next year. But maybe I'll harvest actually a good chunk of them because they taste really good right now. And I think they get maybe up to 2 inches long. So these are like maybe 1.5 inches now. Looks pretty good, right? Some of them were especially large. I really like that like two-tone color with the white bottoms. I think that's kind of nice. So take those with us. Warmed up a little. I have to take off the coat. We're at the pig pen garden, and I don't think I'll go in there. Well, let's give you a look of how things are going. So these are the sugar magnolia snap peas, and you can see they have these really beautiful purple flowers, and some of them are even a little more like blue. So I kind of tried to give those a little bit of something to climb on. They look really good. Overall, this one's doing really well. There's not a lot of like slugs eating anything in here. The kale's doing really good. So is the lettuce and beets. I'm pretty excited about it, and like, man, those flowers are just like really beautiful. I am just down here at the wild strawberry patch taking a look to see if there's any strawberries, and it doesn't quite look like it yet. They're just starting to set their fruit. Some of the other places though do have strawberries, but just not this one spot. Thanks for joining me on this garden tour, and we'll see how things progress through the rest of the summer. See you next time. Bye.